everybody. My name is Jean, and I am a yoga teacher. I've been teaching yoga or I was teaching yoga for quite some time, probably about 5 or 6 years. And different types of yoga, probably mostly hot yoga. And I've learned a lot about meditation. I learned a lot about the yoga sutras in a yoga context, but it has mostly been about physicality. And I think for a lot of us out there, a lot of yoga teachers, that is what we tend to focus on because it's the easiest thing for us to understand when we're teaching yoga, and the easiest thing for us to impart on our students. But we all know that there's more to it. I want to introduce you to my friend Shri. He has studied yoga in the Eastern context, not in the Western context, but he's been a student of yoga in the strictest and purest sense of the form of the word, studying Patanjali and the Yoga Sutras and many other forms other than just the asana that we know and practice. But he also has the unique experience of having a PhD in neuroscience. And so he understands the mind from a yoga perspective and also understands the mind from a scientific perspective. And I just really, we go through yoga, teaching yoga, not entirely understanding like the full breadth of it, and teaching our students mostly just how to get by. I feel like we teach them we teach them how to be okay, how to feel good, how to feel better, and then they can go about living their normal lives. But there's so much more to it. We know there's more to it. Some of us intuit it. Some of us have studied more yoga and understand that there's more to it. But I felt like Shri could maybe give us a better perspective. And so he's here to answer some questions for us. Hi. So, right off the bat, let's talk about it. Let's talk about, what's going on in yoga studios these days. It really seems like, you go to a studio, you get a membership, you practice 3 or 4 times a week. They tell you, come practice 3 or 4 times a week to get the physical benefits. And then they mention benefits of the mind. And many of us experience that. But what's missing? What's missing from the experience when we are focusing so much on learning these poses and getting a workout and sweating? Because, lots of us do hot yoga and it's all about getting that sweat in. What are we missing? What's not there?
I mean, again, it comes back to what is it that the person who's coming to the yoga studio for yoga, what do they want to achieve? What do they want to get? And like you said, the reason that people come to yoga versus just going and exercising is because there is some mind component to it. And because yoga is a general term, hatha yoga is what people do in these yoga studios.
Yeah.
And the thing is that when you're talking about the mind component, usually people think, well, the mind component is just you do the hatha yoga asanas, you feel a little better, you breathe, because of all the breathing, you feel a little calmer, and then great. So that makes you feel a little different than you would just going to a gym.
Yeah.
But that is really like saying you have this unbelievably beautiful cake with so many layers, and saying that taking some little part of the whipped cream to say, wow, I love this cake, and this cake is so much better than anything else. The truth of the matter is, with yoga, I understand if the intention is just for the physicality, but there are many people, and as you know, I had been invited to different yoga studios when they had to teach their teacher trainers about Patanjali Yoga Sutras or some of these things. And every time I go there, what I did notice is not just the teacher trainees, but also many of the students who would come, they wanted to know how to incorporate more of the mind knowledge or aspect into their practice, such that they could feel better mentally as well. and in a sustainable way. And so, in answer to your question, what is missing? I think what is missing is the people themselves who are running these studios. Sorry to say, they don't know the whole thing. I mean, there are some of those who have an openness and have that honesty to say, look, I don't know, but I wish my studio to be honest and to be authentic. And they allow for that, and they allow for others who do know to come in and teach other things. And I think those are very few and far between.
Sure.
But the truth of the matter is, most people think they know yoga if they just practice the yoga asanas and they become a yoga teacher. They think they're done, they're great. And I think that's the biggest problem. And we need to talk about yoga as yoga and not just some physical exercise. I think that is a very important conversation. And also, all this new age stuff is being associated with yoga. So that's another answer to your question. What's the problem with yoga studios? It's people think anything that is Eastern and anything that is supposed to be holistic is just this, like, ooh, kumbaya, like, very, look, we should take all of this away and make it treat something for what it is. What is yoga? What are we trying to achieve? Let's go straight to it, rather than adding all these layers to it which dilute what it really is.